Right now at noon, the Sun Prairie community is continuing to recover after the fatal explosion last Tuesday. We'll tell you how you can help the victims. Plus, President Trump and Russian President Putin met in Finland today, what both are saying about Russian election meddling. And protests are happening across Chicago after police shoot and kill an armed man.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Monday. Hope you all had a great weekend. We'll get to those stories in just a bit, but first, let's head over to the Weather Center. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti has a look at our first alert forecast, waiting for that humidity to get out of town.
It's starting to drop, yeah. If you've been outside the last couple of hours, you've noticed that the humidity levels have started to drop. In fact, let's start out by taking a look at visible cloud track. We've had some clouds for much of the morning because the humidity levels, even behind a cold front, were still fairly high, but you can see how the skies are clearing out very nicely north and west of Madison. And while low temperatures this morning started out very mild in the lower 70s, our temperatures will still be warm today. We're already at 81. Notice it's just a tad cooler to the north and west. Milwaukee already at 87. But look at the dew point temperatures. Milwaukee's still at 72. Here in Madison, we've dropped to 63. That's almost 10 degrees less than we were at this time yesterday. And by the time you get up to Black River Falls, dew point temperatures are below the 50-degree mark. So temperatures will gradually drop off into the, or gradually rise this afternoon into the middle 80s. They'll drop off tonight into the upper 50s. And then high temperatures tomorrow and Wednesday will be around 80 degrees with plenty of sunshine. Later on, I'll take a look at a forecast that includes pretty nice weather for the most part for the rest of the week.
80s degrees in July, we'll take that. Just get that humidity out of here.
As long as the humidity's down, it makes it feel much more comfortable.
All right, Gary will check back in a few minutes. Top of the news today, Sun Prairie Police will be providing an update later today about last week's fatal downtown explosion. The news conference will be at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Roads and businesses started reopening over the weekend after Tuesday night's explosion that killed firefighter Captain Corey Barr and injured several others. The Sun Prairie community, firefighters, and first responders from across the state gathered Saturday to honor Barr. The explosion happened around 7:05 p.m. Tuesday after a subcontractor, VC Tech, was digging in the area for Bear Communications, which was subcontracted by Verizon for fiber network work. Hundreds of first responders across the state showed their respect by attending the funeral for Captain Corey Barr on Saturday. Here are a few of the departments that attended the ceremony for Barr. The Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reports more than 2,000 people, including about 700 uniformed officers, attended the services for Captain Barr. Our community has been shocked and saddened by the stories we've seen in Sun Prairie over the last week, but it's also has to have us moving to action. Tomorrow, News 3 will partner with the Bank of Sun Prairie for an all-day telethon to raise money for the Disaster Relief Fund. Our phone lines will be open starting at 4:30 a.m. until the end of our late evening newscast at 10:30 to take donations for the fund to benefit the businesses and families impacted by this tragic incident. The Bank of Sun Prairie is assuring us that 100% of the proceeds collected will stay in the community. In other news, Fitchburg police are investigating after a man was shot last night. Police say it happened just before 9:30 in the 5100 block of Anton Drive. When officers arrived at the scene, they found evidence of a disturbance and shell casings. According to police, while officers were investigating, a man arrived at the hospital with a gunshot wound and said he had been shot in Fitchburg. Police say they are continuing to investigate. They do not believe there is any danger to the public at this time. President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin held a joint news conference following their first extended face-to-face talks in Finland today. The president said in addition to discussing trade, Syria, and other issues, he brought up Russian meddling in the 2016 U.S. election. This after the Justice Department indicted 12 Russian agents for alleged hacking during the election.
During today's meeting, I addressed directly with President Putin the issue of Russian interference in our elections. I felt this was a message best delivered in person. Spent a great deal of time talking about it, and President Putin may very well want to address it, and very strongly, because he feels very strongly about it, and he has an interesting idea.
Putin is pushing back against claims that his government interfered in the U.S. election. He says there's no evidence when it comes to the actual facts. The one-on-one meeting between the two leaders is unprecedented. Never has the U.S. president met with a Russian counterpart for about 2 hours with only translators in the room. People in Chicago are protesting after police released body cam video less than 24 hours after the fatal shooting of an armed black man. 4 officers approached Harith Augustus on a South Side Chicago sidewalk. Police say the video shows Augustus reaching for a gun in a holster on his waist.
The decision to use lethal force is made in a split second and is based on the safety of the officer and also that surrounding community.
Demonstrators converged near the shooting site Saturday, throwing bottles and trash, jumping on a squad car, and clashing with officers who responded with batons. There were 4 arrests and some officers were injured. Chicago PD says the man did not have a concealed carry permit. The probationary officer involved has been taken off the street and placed on administrative duty. Frontier Airlines has announced it will end direct flights from the Dane County Regional Airport to Philadelphia in October. The company has been offering a direct flight to Philly since April. A spokesman told News 3 that the flights were always scheduled as seasonal and that Frontier informed the airport officials that the service to Philadelphia would be discontinued as of October 6. The seasonal service will be replaced with a direct flight to Orlando, which will begin on October 7th. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, we'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Join me today to find out what makes our blueberry pancakes so darn addictive. It's our secret ingredient. If you love light and fluffy pancakes studded with fresh blueberries, then you're in luck. July is National Blueberry Month, and there's no better time than right now to make them. That means these purplish blueberries are in abundance right now and at some of the lowest prices of the year. So let me share with you an amped up version of blueberry pancakes that I know you're gonna love. We start by mixing together some self-rising flour with a bit of sugar and salt. We make a well in the center of this and set it aside. Next, we beat together a package of cream cheese, that's our secret ingredient, along with a couple of eggs. Once it's smooth, we mix in some milk, melted butter, and a splash of vanilla. This gets poured into the well of our dry ingredients, and we mix it. All that's left to do is fold in our blueberries, and it's ready to spoon onto a hot griddle. After a few minutes on each side, these babies are ready to slather with butter and syrup. What makes these so good, besides the fact that they're bursting with blueberries, is the richness we get from the cream cheese. To get the recipe for our blueberry cream cheese pancakes, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a
blueberry-licious way
for you to say, ooh, it's so good. Good?
All right, guys, thank you. Coming up on News 3 at noon, a sunny day, warm start to the work week. Chief Meteorologist Gary Canalti has your first alert forecast when we come back. Our Call for Action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issues. And call our hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow Industrials up almost 15 points. The NASDAQ, however, down 10. Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee is out of the radio barn today, so here are your ag numbers. Gary's here now with a look at the weather. Things looking up.
They certainly are. The humidity levels are dropping, which is good news.
Oh.
We're finally going to get a break from.
Yeah, it was kind of rough yesterday.
For a few days. Yeah, it was just, I mean, it was one of those days you can just kind of cut the air with a knife. But we didn't have much in the way of thunderstorms, except in a few areas. Verona, I know, got a big heavy downpour, but that was the exception rather than the rule. And now, with the cold front coming through, the threat for rain pretty much is gone now, except for maybe far southeastern Wisconsin, a couple of buildups right along the Lake Breeze front there in Racine and Kenosha counties. But you can see the north and west of Madison skies are almost perfectly clear. And as we check out the radar, you can see that generally we're looking at partly cloudy skies and some showers and thunderstorms down across northern Illinois. But as we check out the high temperature trend over the next 7 days, you'll see the temperatures generally are in the upper 70s to the lower 80s, and nighttime low temperatures, more importantly, will come down into the 50s. As we take a look at the live view from the Queen Bee Radio Sky Cam in Platteville, the skies are mostly sunny there. The WISC Sky Cam also showing mostly sunny skies, and the Edgewater Sky Cam in downtown Madison also showing pretty sunny skies there as well. As we check out the current conditions, right now we're at 81 degrees, winds out of the north-northwest at 8 miles per hour. The humidity is at 54%. Now, as we take a look at current temperatures, they're generally in the lower 80s here in southern Wisconsin, mid-80s in the Milwaukee area. But notice to the north and west, those temperatures drop off into the upper 70s. But more importantly, the dew point temperatures that are in the 70s over southeastern Wisconsin, take a look what's happening to the north and west. They drop off into the mid-50s, so they are noticeably cooler. As we check out weather track, you can see the cold front has moved through southern Wisconsin, and now skies have cleared out very nicely. Across the rest of the country, things are actually pretty quiet this afternoon. It's warm and humid in the southern part of the country, but here in our part of the Midwest, things are starting to cool down. The first of two cold fronts has come through. The second one to the north and west has a little more drier air behind it. Notice north of that front, temperatures are in the 60s over northern Minnesota, but generally, even between the two cold fronts, temperatures are in the mid-70s to the lower 80s. The really warm and humid air south of the other front, and that's where the dew point temperatures are generally in the 70s. As we look at future track, you can see how the skies have cleared out. We're looking for plenty of clear skies, not only during the daytime, but at night, and that will allow temperatures to drop off in the 50s at night, but stay in the 80s during the daytime. Our forecast for this afternoon calls for partly sunny skies. It'll be warm, but less humid with a high temperature of 84, winds out of the north and northwest at 8 to 15 miles per hour. For tonight, mostly clear skies, cooler and less humid. Probably can turn off the air conditioner for a night, open the windows for a little bit, as long as you don't have allergies. Low temperature at 59. Then for tomorrow, look for mostly sunny skies, pleasantly warm conditions, high temperature at 80, again with low humidity. As we take a look at future track, you can see skies have cleared out. We're going to look for clear skies for the rest of the afternoon, or partly cloudy skies, high temperatures mid-80s, but the humidity levels will continue to drop. For tonight, look for mostly clear skies. Low temperatures will drop into the upper 50s. And then for tomorrow, look for sunny skies. High temperatures will be around 80 degrees. As we take a look at the 7 to 10-day forecast, those temperatures will stay at or even slightly below normal for the end of the week. Notice those high temperatures in the upper 70s for Thursday and Friday, but there will be some scattered shower and thunderstorm chances on those days. Humidity levels aren't going to be very high, so we're not looking at a lot of rain. And then Saturday looks like the weather system will move out. Just a slight chance of a shower or thunderstorm. High temperatures around 80 or a little bit above. And then low to mid 80s for Sunday and Monday. It'll be a little warmer, but the humidity levels, again, aren't going to creep up dramatically, so it'll feel pretty comfortable. Tuesday, maybe a couple of thunderstorms, a little more humidity. And then Wednesday, back to the upper 70s. And that 8 to 14-day temperature outlook is calling for below normal temperatures in our part of the Midwest through much of next week.
I could use a little break. It's been a hot summer so far, but that's a good-looking forecast.
It certainly is.
All right, thanks, Gary. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Up next, Linda Barch from the Bruce Company is here to take your plant questions. The number 270-9933. We'll get to your calls right after this.
News
Linda Barch from the Bruce Company's here taking your calls at 270-9933. You have some annuals, some houseplants. Very pretty.
Some very pretty combinations. Sunflowers are always cheery, and the celosia, two totally different looking ones down front of that. And then some really cool plants, that little fern, begonia, and then the apesia with a beautiful foliage colors, plus that sort of reddish behind that orange flower. It just really makes it pop.
A lot of sun in the house.
Yes.
Plants. All right. Go to the phones. We'll start with Care. Is it Care in Cross Plains?
Karen. My name is Karen.
Karen, go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. We have a worm, and it's not the white worm. It's a darker worm, like a 1/5 of an inch long, in our raspberries. And I'm just wondering, what do you do? How do you get rid of them?
Well, that's problematic. You're going to have to use a chemical that can be used on a fruit crop, and you're going to have to look carefully at the label so that you time it in between harvests. And with raspberries coming in as fast as they are, obviously this has to be preemptive. You have to do this as a preventive type of thing. But picking those and so that they don't finish their life cycle and then reproduce and occur again is helpful.
Yeah, it's tricky with stuff you eat.
Exactly. You have to be careful. Read the label.
All right, go to Judy now in Cross Plains. Hi, Judy.
Hi.
What's your question?
I have got a Wigelia bush that has gotten bigger than what we had thought it was going to. And I was wondering if in the fall, if I would cut that back kind of drastically, would that hurt it at all?
It wouldn't hurt it. You're going to delay flowering next year, but if it's just larger than you need, Wigelia are a type of shrub that bloom during the summer. So if you could time that where you'd actually prune it back in that 2-week period after it gets done flowering, then the new growth that will come will flower. But Wigelia sort of are good in terms of some of them will develop some flowers. You won't have as much flowering next year, but you'll have your size control.
But maybe late summer is better than spring.
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. Brenda in Monroe. Hi, Brenda.
Hi. I have some lilies that have already bloomed. I'm not sure what kind of lilies they are. They're real tall. And I've moved. And so I want to know if I can dig those up and put them in my new yard.
Yes, you can move them. The problem is going to be that since the stalks are taller, you either stake them or if that breaks off, you can still plant the bulb now. You can transplant them at this time.
As long as it's done flowering.
But stake it.
Okay. We'll go to Ann now in Wanakee. Ann, what's your question?
Hi. I'd like to know about mandevilla plants. A couple years ago, I bought 2 of them, and they were just beautiful, so I kept them over winter in my house, and they grew really nice. I didn't cut them off or anything. I let the big, long vines go. But in the spring, I set them out, and they were still sitting there, but they're growing like everything, but they will not bloom.
No flowers. Well, are you fertilizing them?
Yes, I am. And Miracle Grow.
Okay, Miracle Grow is good. Did you locate them someplace in the same spot where you had, because they should flower. That's a plant that you can overwinter and bring back outside. It's a tropical, so you
sun.
Full.
And they're beautiful. I mean, when they bloom,
they really
beautiful.
are.
Well, I'm just wondering if there would you could perhaps substitute a different fertilizer that has a higher phosphorus and see if that helps, because that's what promotes flowering.
Well, I kept them in the same pots. Maybe that's why they didn't have them. Well, I always put Miracle Grow on them all the time.
But if they're growing well, they should flower for you.
They should.
Yes, they should.
Okay.
Well, they're sure taking their time.
Yeah, they are. Well, good luck. Let's go to Delbert in Boaz. Hi, Delbert. Delbert, you there?
Hello.
Hi, what's your question?
I have hibiscus that ain't coming out of the ground yet. I need to know why.
Oh, all right. The ones with the great, big, huge flowers, those take a long time to start to grow in the spring. But I had planted one for my daughter. It hasn't come up, and it didn't make it. I think it might have been the winter that we had. We didn't have snow cover, and they're lovely plants, but they don't work real well. The other hibiscus, you know, she has her mandevilla. My hibiscus that I've kept over winter, it still is not flowering. And I've been fertilizing it like
Hers
crazy.
died, you know, nobody's going to make it. Lorraine in Wanakee. Hi, what's your question?
Hi, I have a nice raspberry patch, but it is being inundated with those copper, I believe they're Japanese beetles.
Yes.
They've also hit my rhubarb leaves. And last year they took out almost everything on one of my, what is that, the plant for the,
Oh, they like birch and linden also.
Yeah, they just go crazy.
Grapes.
How can I control them in the raspberry patch?
Yes, in raspberries, it's very, very difficult. I'm sorry, I have a friend that asked me information on this, and I'd have that if let me bring it to you next week. I'll talk about it because, again, you're spraying on a food crop.
Let's talk about Japanese beetles next week. How's
okay,
that?
Very good.
All right, if you're on the line, stay there, Linda. We'll talk to you off the air. Busy woman today.
Lots of things happening.
See you next week. Gary has one final check of the forecast.
Well, the humidity levels continue to drop. Some good news there. Here are current temperatures. We're 81 right now in Madison. That seems warm. Milwaukee at 85, but notice to the north and west, some upper 70s showing up. But look at the dew point temperatures. Yesterday, we're in the 70s. Now we're in the 60s, and the 50s are not far to our north and to our west. Look for temperatures to climb into the mid-80s this afternoon, be around 80 the next couple of days with low humidity. Some shower and thunderstorm chances Thursday and Friday, and then a little warmer for the next weekend.
Nice stretch of summer weather. That's our time for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here at 4 o'clock. In the meantime, have a great afternoon.